Okay, I'm a little late with this review, but here we go. This week's movie is 300 Rise of an Empire, the sort of sequel, sort of prequel, sort of simulcast of the original 300. This film literally takes place before, during, and after the original 300, but this time instead of being about the Spartans, it's primarily about the Athenians during the same conflict with the Persians. The hero of this film is Themistocles. He's an Athenian naval commander who is absolutely dedicated to the brand new Athenian idea of democracy, as well as he's dedicated to the idea of uniting all of Greece as one nation. It's reasonably well acted. He's a decent character. He's likable, but he is also um, very heavy-handed with the speeches. And the speeches, while they're not terrible, they're not all that well written, and they're somewhat repetitive. There's a lot of dialogue, especially by this guy, that's really meant to get you stirring, and because it's so repetitive, it doesn't work that well. Um, I apologize if you can hear what's going on outside. We're basically having yet another blizzard in New York right now. Okay? So, anyway, your villain. Your villain is a woman named Artemisia. She's a Greek born Persian naval commander who hates Greece because when she was a very little girl, some Greeks came along. They raped and killed her family. They raped her and kept her as a rape slave until she was in her middle teens, at which point she was rescued by the Persians and trained to be a psychotic killer. She's also very well acted. She's a pretty good villain in the type of villainous role that is very rarely given to women. She truly is the main villain of this film. It is not the god King Xerxes. He's sort of a side villain. But she is a little bit Darth Vaderish in that sense where you get to fail her one time and then she kills you. And it's sort of like if you were under her command, you would not try to rise through the ranks because as soon as you get high enough for her to notice you, you're gonna die the first misstep you make. There's no reason to want to get promoted in her navy, and I've always thought that that type of villainy was silly, and she's got that in spades. However, she is very good in the movie. Um, there's no mentor in this movie. There's nobody who's the wise guiding presence. There's really nobody who's the moral backbone of this movie. Themistocles is really his own mentor. He's the moral guy there. The allies. There's a couple of Athenian soldiers who were there to stand by him to because he's not alone, but he is played up as almost a superhero on the battlefield. Um, and the plot revolves heavily around the idea that the Athenians needed to recruit the Spartans in order to win this war against the Persians. So the Spartans are the allies, sort of. Enemies, you have the Persian Navy. Most of the Persian Navy is pure cannon fodder. There's a lot of action sequences and a lot of one hit kills. Really, the Persian naval dudes are one hit point um, throwaway enemies, you know. The upside of the movie. The action is pretty good. It's pretty entertaining. It's nowhere near as groundbreaking as it was in the first film. It still looks pretty cool, with the exception of the actual Spartan men. They actually look photoshopped this time. It's kind of weird looking. Um, but it's entertaining. The downside is the film really, really glosses over the events of the first film. Essentially, the entire first film is exposition, people just talking. And then, it would have been better if more of the footage was cut in. The footage of the first film that's introduced in this movie is a little bit it's awkwardly introduced into this film. Uh so I had a good time watching this movie, but I had some problems with it. This movie was a solid 3.5. I enjoyed it.